Hey guys, what's up? Sarah1 here, and we are back with some more pro Overwatch news. I don't know if I'm going to keep using this intro, but let's get started with my first Overwatch League video. So, it's going to be my power ranking, I guess, I'm going to say. I'm not going to go in too deep when I say the teams, because I'm going to go through an in-depth analysis with each team. Hopefully, the day this video is going out, my first video will go out too, and I'm gonna do in-depth analyses or analysis. Yeah, it is analyses. Hopefully, those will come out in reverse order of 1 through 12. So we'll start with the 12th place team with the analyses, then the 11th, and the 10th, and the 9th, 8th, 7th, 6th, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So yeah, that's how we're gonna do things. So this is going to be a short video, shortish, because I'm gonna say the team and their roster really. So I guess yeah. I'm gonna say the 12th through 1st, by the way. So we're gonna start with the worst and go to the best with my power ranking, I guess. The bottom 4 teams I'm gonna say are kind of like pushover teams. They're teams I don't expect to be really good at all. I expect them to really kind of tank out. The mid 4 teams, I'm going to say they're really good for playoff contenders. I could see these teams, all 4 of them, making the playoffs. And the top 4 teams are going to be the championship contender teams, the teams I can really see winning the championship. So, let's get it started, I guess. With number 12 is the Shanghai Dragons. Shanghai really fell short in the preseason. They did not do well at all. They were 0-2. Their roster for DPS, they had Dia and Undead. For tanks, they have Roshan, Zushu, I believe is how you pronounce that, Zushu. MG, Zushu and MG, oh my god. And for their healers, they have Free Feel, 5 King, and Altering. So that's their roster, and like I said, they did not show up at all in the preseason. I believe they're the only team to get 4-0'd, but don't quote me on that. They're the only team I remember getting 4-0'd. I can't remember another one. They seem to struggle getting map wins off any team, including Boston Uprising and Seoul Dynasty, I believe, with their 2 games. I think they only got 1 map win the whole time against Boston. They may have gotten 2, but I believe it was just 1. So let's go on to the 11th place team, which I think is good. The 11th place team is the Philadelphia Fusion, and they didn't show up to the preseason. They canceled, which angered me because I wanted to see all 12 teams. But I thought this was going to be a bottom 3 team anyway coming into this. They seem star-studded with their DPS. That's about it. The roster contains Carpe, Snillo, EQ. I don't know his name. I'm pretty sure he's from Israel. Eco. If I'm wrong, please correct me. I know there's one person from Israel in this whole league, so that might be him. So again, DPS is Carpe, Snillo, Eco, and Shadowburn. Their 2 tanks are Fraggy and Sato. Their flexes are Hotbutt and Poco. And for healers, they have Joey Meister, Boombox, Dayfly, and Neptuno. So what's really wrong with this roster, you might be asking? They seem pretty good at least, right? I have to say that this roster would have been star-studded if it was more at the beginning of the Overwatch Pro scene. Shadowburn's Genji is not as top tier as it used to be. Shadowburn used to be the Genji to beat. Now I would argue that Carpe's a better Genji, and if you have Carpe who's a better Genji than Shadowburn, and Shadowburn really doesn't do any other heroes well, his Pharah is pretty good, but it's nowhere near as good as like the top Pharahs in the league. Where do you put Shadowburn? Where do you put him? Because Carpe's a better Genji. Snillo's a better Tracer. I don't even remember seeing Shadowburn ever playing Tracer. And until I do an in-depth analysis, I really don't know what the Eco really does. So I just feel like they focused way too hard on their DPS and filled in a lot of the same roles. They have a lot of dive DPS. Maybe Eco is more of a hit or projectile DPS because they kind of need that. Other than that, I just feel like the roster, like the healers, I feel are kind of weak too. Boombox is really good, but he's not as good as the other top Zens, I feel. Best Zen from Europe, though. Best Zen from Europe. Dayfly, I'm pretty sure, is from a tier 2 Korean team. Or he's either from a Tier 2 Korean team or he's from NC Foxes. One or the other. I can't remember which one. But yeah, I don't feel confident with Philadelphia Fusion's roster at all. They seem really weak, and with so many of them being from so many different countries, there's going to be a lot of language barriers in the beginning, so they're going to struggle, especially in the beginning of the season. For number 10, we have the Florida Mayhem. What was Florida thinking with this roster? What were they thinking? DPS, Logix and Tavik. Flex, they have Manitin and Swoosh. Those are pretty much their tanks too. Healers are Zevasai and Zupe. Zupa, I don't know how to pronounce their name. This is the Misfits roster from Contenders, the team that didn't win Contenders Europe. The team that struggles on LAN events. They brought them, and only them. It's the only 6-man roster in the league, and they have to play 40 games, I believe? Something like 40. They play like... There's like 4 stages, 5 weeks in each stage, 2 games per week, so yeah, I believe it's 40 games they have to play. This team's going to be burnt by the end of it, and they didn't even look good in the preseason. They were 0-2, just like the Shanghai Dragons. They lost to the San Francisco Shock, and they also lost to Dallas Fuel. I don't see this team going very far. They're going to struggle to beat the Fusion and Shanghai Dragons, but I feel like they'll beat them enough times to get on top. They might squeak a couple of wins and map wins off some of the higher teams, but I don't see them as being a serious contender. So what they just need more players. They're going to get burnt out, and the players they really have. Tavik is not as good of a flex god as a lot of people give him credit for. Most star DPS now can flex onto a lot of other heroes. A star DPS, I'm just going to use for an example, is Effect for the Dallas Fuel. He can flex onto Zarya, and he can play other heroes as well, such as Soldier and Genji. He has stated he can play these heroes. He is also good at flexing, even though he has a primary role as Tracer. Most people can flex nowadays. It's not as special as it used to be with, and it's really showing with Florida Mayhem. They need Tavik and Logix to carry them, but especially Logix seems to choke a lot on land, so maybe that'll change, but I don't see it changing anytime soon. In 9th place might surprise some people based on their performance in the preseason, but I believe 9th place is the LA Gladiators, but this is the team in the bottom 4 I can see actually doing better and making a playoff push. I don't see it really happening. Like, it's hard for me to see it, but I can see it. Their problem is the same with the Florida Mayhem. They only have a 7-man roster. DPS, they have Surefour, Asher, and Hydration. For the tanks, they have iRemix. Flex, they have Bishu. Healers, they have Shaz and Big Goose. Again, they don't have enough players for this. Like, they are going to struggle as the season progresses. They were 1-1 in the... They were 1-1 in the preseason. I didn't want to say preseason, but I don't know why. They beat out London Spitfire, and they lost to the LA Valiant. So, impressive win to the Spitfire, and they kept it close with Valiant. So, they seem like they have the skill, but I don't think they'll have the stamina, and that's the reason they're 9th. They'll take wins off of almost every team in front of them, but they won't take enough to really advance forward. Especially by the end of the season, I feel like they're going to be one of the weakest teams in the league. Again, they just need more players to fill out their stamina. And now let's get on to the second tier teams, I guess, which are the playoff contenders. The 8th place are the San Francisco Shock. Their DPS star-studded lineup is Baby Bay, Sinatra, Dante, and IDDQ. Their only main tank is Nomi, their flexes are Super and Nevix, and their healers are Sleepy and Doc. I feel like they're in 8th place is a good place for them because I feel Baby Bay is a little bit overrated. He did really well in the preseason, but I expected more from him actually with how much everyone was talking him up. I expected more from them, especially Baby Bay. Plus, Sinatra will not be playing for a majority of the season, and Super was out for the preseason. I'm not sure how long Super will be out because they're both under the age of 18. Dante is I'm not going to say Tracer-only player, but he's mostly known for his Tracer, so where are you going to put Dante when Sinatra comes back? It's a good sub in and sub out, but still, Sinatra's going to be really fresh when he comes in. IDDQD, he's a really good DPS. And really, I feel like the only problem with this team is how young they are. They're going to struggle due to inexperience. They're going to make some mistakes. I can see them making a playoff push, especially when Sinatra comes in, and if Super doesn't come until around then, when they both come in, I can see a really good playoff push for them. But I'm putting them at 8th, and I don't expect them to make the playoffs just because the push might come a little too late. For 7 is the Boston Uprising. Their DPS is Dream Kazapper, Striker, Mistakes, and their tanks are Gamesu, Note, and Kalios. Their healers are Snow, Neko, Evast, and Kellis. I believe they have the most healers out of any team, actually. And Snow is the only player from Africa. They surprised a lot of people. I put them a lot lower initially in my head before the preseason. And they went 1-1, I believe, in the preseason. They beat the New York Excelsior, and I forgot who else they played, but I know they lost. I'm sorry, I don't have it opened or anything. I just know they were 1-1. Also, I forgot to say that San Francisco was 1-2 because they filled in for Philadelphia for one of their matches. Anyway, Boston was 1-1, and I don't know like how they're gonna take their game to the next level. They beat the New York Excelsior, which was a very surprising affair. Or I can't remember if they beat the New York Excelsior now. I just remember they played them. I'm sorry. Don't remember all the preseason games that well. Apologize if I'm wrong on this. I just know for a fact they were 1-1 and they weren't expected to win any. They were seen as the biggest joke team because not a lot of people knew anybody on this team. Like, a lot of them were from Tier 2 American teams and Tier 2 Korean teams. Although, obviously, Mistake's the exception to that. As I'm pretty sure he was a 1-2-3 player. Which is a lower Tier 1 team in Europe, or mid-Tier 1 at least. But still, he was a really good tracer. Striker is apparently the man to watch, though, as he is a tracer upcoming god, apparently. So that's going to be interesting to see. Especially if Striker v Sinatra, or Striker v Bunny, anything else like that. I'm looking forward to seeing it. Dream Kazapper was also really impressive. I just don't know if they had the chemistry yet to make a bigger push than 7th place. I can really see them squeaking into the playoffs in the 5 or 6 seed, but I don't see them being much better than that. And if you see other analysis or analysts, another analysis like list or whatever, I've seen one saying Boston Uprising is going to win it all. I don't see that happening. I see them being a playoff contender at best.